Good morning, everyone. It's Vicki McClifty here from AM Healing My Soul TV, and today I'm speaking with Cathy Cheshire from the US, actually, and Cathy is a master grief coach. Welcome to the show, Cathy.
Thank you, Vicki. Very glad to be here.
I'm so grateful that you've been able to actually do this interview. You've been through some really amazing, heart-wrenching events over the last few weeks in particular, but I mean, you've had such a journey, and I'd really love for you to just share with me what's brought you here today, like your story you've actually come to the show today.
I have had a lifetime of loss, including family and only child recently, my stepson, after being very sick in the hospital. And it was actually after losing my child that I just spiraled into a deep, dark place because I had no knowledge whatsoever about grief. My family, we didn't really talk about emotions. We weren't good at expressing emotions. So although I had done some things to try to learn, I was really caught off guard. And once I decided to live life the best I could to get happiness again, I really, after a longer journey than necessary, found out it didn't have to be so hard. I never dreamed I would be coaching people about grief, but I love doing it because so many people share a similar story to mine in that they just get knocked to their knees.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do with the pain that nobody can possibly describe or understand unless you've lost someone that you significantly love.
Oh, that's so true, Cathy. And I think what you said before about you decided that you wanted to be happy too, it is your choice. We always have a choice, don't we, to live a better life. Doesn't matter what you come across in your life and the grief that you do have a choice to learn how to live with that in your life.
I think anybody can.
Yeah.
And I used to feel bad that I let myself, I just existed for several years. But now I feel that it can bring hope to those who have gone down a similar path. Yeah. It doesn't matter how long ago the loss was, if it's recent or years ago, no matter what difficulties a person has had, it's never too late to learn. And that's really what it is. It's knowledge. It is amazing to me the lack of knowledge and understanding about grief because nobody looks at it until they have to.
Do you think it's a fear thing that people just don't want to face grief?
I do. Some of it is absolutely fear, but I also think it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
It's my experience and discomfort. So there's fear of going there. There's fear of what will happen if I let myself experience all these emotions. People don't understand. You can push them down, but they don't go away.
They become a part of you, don't they? And
yes.
If you don't get
those
emotions.
It doesn't have to be life limiting. No. Whatever loss, including that of a child, my husband has lost a spouse now and his only child. It does not have to be life limiting. And so I have an amazing passion for teaching people, and that's really what it is. Every expert says we can heal after any loss, but they have different suggestions on how. So a big part of my coaching is helping people find what best resonates with them, whether that's law of attraction, like what you do, or this list of steps or that list of steps. It's about finding what's going to work for that person.
Yeah. So you only recently lost your stepson. I mean, how long ago, going back to your own child, how long ago was that when you lost your son?
10 years.
10 years ago.
It was 3 years of darkness, just existing, pain and depression and anxiety every single day. And then it took me several years because I started on my own. I didn't know I could get help. I went to a counselor who I said, life is stupid, I don't want to live anymore. And she basically said, you're not saying anything to worry me, and sent me on my way. So I thought, well, if anybody knows what I should do, she should, and she didn't. And so I didn't realize until now, being in the grief world, how much education is available. And that's a big part on my website. I list your website and any other website that I feel shows thriving after loss. There is so much that says you can survive grief and so much that is negative about grief. And I think people hear way more about that. And it's just now evolving. I have a life I love. I have had a lifetime of loss, and I still have a life I love. And so I used to feel I can't go on without my child. Now I feel if I have to go on without my child, it's going to be living with adventure and love and passion. And it took me a while to get there, but that's why I like to help other people. You know, I kind of stumbled along.
I think that's normal though, isn't? Do you think? You know, like a lot of people will, to start off with, they'll stumble.
Yeah, and stumbling's fine.
Yeah.
And making mistakes is fine. And having that crazy grief brain where you do things you regret is fine.
Yeah.
It's getting to that point where you can believe. So many clients I talk to just doubt that they can get better and feel better and have happiness again and live a life that they love. But I believe anybody can. Yeah.
Well, I mean, prior to losing your son, what was your life like leading up to then in comparison to what it's like now?
I was one of those moms who put my whole life into raising my child. I was a single parent. So I worked to provide, and I worked to make his life as wonderful as it could be. So when I lost him, I was lost. And now I'm doing things that I should have done then, like have fun. Like follow my dreams, like nurture love in my life. The love of a child is just so wonderful, almost indescribable, but you can have that with other people. There's billions of people in the world, and you just have to find those that bring that two-way love to your life. And it really, you know, I have that with my husband. We have the most wonderful, we've been together now 11 years. And so I worked in business a long time. And so when I decided I'm going to heal my life, I was just going for a little bit of happiness. And I came up with an action plan, which is what business people do. So I'm going to do all these things. And along the way, my soul just blossomed. Like my soul knew I'm doing the right thing. I'm headed the right way. And that gave me this motivation. I should have been doing all these things while I was a mom raising my child, while I was working. I should have been doing the kind of work I would love. I didn't even realize how much I didn't love that work I was doing.
Yeah, well, I think that it's a wake-up call for a lot of us, isn't it, when you go through grief. And sometimes you're not tuned in to who you really are deep down, and it takes something like this to actually jolt you into the world that you need to be in. It's a bit of a drastic.
That's very well put.
It is a bit of a drastic way to happen, but
it is.
A lot of us are like that, and I think that's where coaching helps too, with people if they haven't even gone through any grief, just to try and discover who they are and what they like, because I think we get told by too many people what we should be doing, and we listen to others, we don't listen to ourselves.
Correct. I agree.
And I think you learn how to listen to yourself, and you learn what makes you happy, instead of having to, like I was a bit like yourself, and my children brought me so much happiness, and then when I lost Adam, it was the worst thing ever. And then I was thinking, what if I lose the others? And then I thought, wow, I really do wind all my happiness around my children, and they're all going to leave home. And I think that's another show with parents or with mothers who have brought up their kids that all leave home, and then it's the empty nest syndrome. Do with myself. So it's it sort of throws you into that straight away. What am I supposed to do with my life? You lost your son, he was your only child. You would have gone straight into it without even contemplating it, because it was taken away from you so quickly and unexpectedly.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's it's not only grief, it's what am I supposed to do now? It's, you know, the loss of what you thought you were going to have.
I was very mad. I was angry. I was lost. I was confused. And I just shut down.
Yeah. And I think if people realise that that's normal, it is normal to feel that way, and be kind to themselves, you know.
Yes.
It's learning to be kind to yourself, because I think we're a little bit harsh in judging ourselves that, you know, we should have done this, we should have done that, but really everything happens for a reason. That's totally what I've got from life.
Well, I admire you, and you were one of the first professionals that I met also helping people with grief in such a positive way. And so I just am thrilled every time I come across somebody who's telling people you can have a wonderful life instead of this survive. You know, who wants to survive? If I have to go through this, you know, I'm going to have a wonderful life. And it's possible. And you and I are proof of it. And the many others that I have gotten to know and continue to come across.
Yeah, you can. I think it has more meaning, actually. And I feel like our loved ones, our children that have passed, are still here with us.
I agree.
They're still guiding us in some way. We can't see them, but I know that they're there.
And I could feel that connection once I healed.
Yes. Yeah.
When I surrounded myself with the pain and the misery, I couldn't feel that.
No.
So that was another motivator once I started to do all these wonderful things in my life. And I could feel that it's hard to describe, but there's a definite connection. And I come across more and more people that say the same thing. And so that also motivates me to stay here. I am constantly looking at my life and adding wonderful things and stopping things that don't serve me anymore. And it's a wonderful way to live.
It is.
And I'm grateful. And I value those I love in a way I never dreamed I could, but I do. I know them or myself could be gone at any second.
Yeah. I think it takes away that fear of death as well. When you've gone through something like this and you feel that they're with you, that there is something else there. And, you know, I used to be one of, like a lot of other people, I used to fear. I couldn't talk about it. I knew I had an aunt who wouldn't write a will because she said, oh, if I write my will, then I'm going to die. Well, okay, it's pretty inevitable that we're all going to die one day. But I think if we take away that fear of death, then it's easy to talk about grief as well.
I think it's important to talk about, and I'm so grateful you're having all these fantastic conversations, because the different grief experts that you are talking to will resonate with different people, you know, and inevitably help them in some way. You have so much valuable information.
Yeah, there is so much there now that, you know, I think probably it should be introduced into schools for kids so that they...
I agree. I so
kids,
agree.
Kids will experience loss. They could lose a parent. They could lose a sibling. They could lose a pet. They could lose a friend.
Yeah.
You need to learn the skills on grieving.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know if I had even some of the information I have now when I lost my child, I would have not had as difficult time, because like you said, you're going to have pain. That cannot be avoided. You're going to have discomfort. It's going to be a difficult period of time. But if you have that hope in knowing, I not only did not know anyone who recovered, I didn't know anyone who had ever lost a child.
Yeah.
Now I know it happens all the time. So I think hope, you bring an incredible message of hope. Look at all these people sharing their stories and letting people know even the worst unimaginable loss, you can come through not just surviving, but thriving in a life that you love and you create and you want to have for as long as you're here.
What does grief mean to you?
it's that pain.
Mm.
It's that pain. It comes in waves. And so initially, even so, just my stepson just dying a couple months ago, I had the kind of odd thing to not only experience the grief, but look at it from the level of expertise I've gotten to. And thank goodness it comes in waves so you could get things done.
Yeah.
In between that pain, that is a reflection of how much you love. I've lost people I didn't really know. I've even lost a grandparent I wasn't close to. I didn't even cry. Why am I not grieving? What's wrong with me? It's love. It's the depth of love. And so when the pain still comes, but it's more of a sadness, you grieve forever, but it's more of a sadness and a longing. When something happens, you think of, if they were still here.
Mm.
But it's not meant. I believe we were born knowing how to grieve,
Yeah.
but we get socialized not to. We're born knowing to cry and to feel the feelings and not fear them and push them down.
Oh.
But we're supposed to feel sad because we love them so much.
That's right. It'd be unusual not to if you love someone so much, and by pushing it down, then that emotion stays in your body. And when you've got that sadness inside you, it's we all operate at a certain vibration, and
Yes.
sadness and grief is the lowest vibrations, looking from the law of attraction. But also you can attract disease and
Yes.
illness, things like that.
I agree.
You heard you die from a broken heart, and it does happen.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah. Because the energy is so low in your body that that's what you're resonating, you're vibrating at, and yeah, it's not good. You need to be able to think better thoughts to get you out of that, and there's different processes for that. But what do you offer people, Cathy, with your work? Like, how do you work people through grief?
I get to know them, and I study all different aspects of how grief experts suggest to people how to heal.
Okay.
So I get to know the client and then work with them to discover what's best going to help them. There's so many different situations, from someone who has no understanding whatsoever of what to expect with the grief journey, to someone who just wants someone to talk to someone who went through what I did and said, this is awful, and I want to move forward and live a wonderful life despite losing somebody that I love so much.
Yeah.
So I don't tell people what to do. I bring to them the information that's going to help them get to where they want to be.
Yeah. I mean, really, ultimately, you can only help yourself, can't you? And when someone's going through grief, it's up to them to be able to help themselves. It's just they've got to be given the tools to use in order to move through, because it is a slow process and everyone grieves at a different rate, and there's no actual time to it. You might think, I should be over it within the space of 12 months. Well, no, that doesn't always happen, and you don't really get over the loss. No one can get over the loss of a child. It's just live your life.
And it can be a wonderful life.
Yes. Yeah.
That is filled with blips of sadness. That is normal.
It is normal. It is, have so many things that can trigger music and anniversaries and birthdays. And I mean, I've just had a whole month of it with Adam. He died on the 7th of September in 2012, and he had his birthday on the 23rd of September. So this month for me has been, it's been challenging, but different this time around. I could say 5 years later that I feel stronger, and I feel like he was here with us, celebrating the shenanigans he used to get up to. So you can laugh. After a period of time, you can laugh. I mean, I still had the sadness, but not so much on those days, because she's celebrating his life on those special anniversaries. But the days around it is where I still tend to struggle a bit, because, you're on a high celebrating, and then you're back to, well, he's not here. That's life. So, but it's normal to feel that way. And then you think, well, okay, now I can move forward, and this is what he wants me to do. I'm his living legacy. You know, I'm here to carry through with whatever he wants me to do. So, and this is how I live my life, through him that way.
And I think we've talked about that before, that that's what they want for us.
Yeah.
We're here to live.
That's right.
And a loss doesn't have to be life limiting and debilitating.
No.
We are here to live, and instead of, you know, I got to get through this as soon as possible, I'm going to live the best life I can now until I see them again.
Yeah, that's right. And hey, you have bad days, but those bad days make the good days really good. So
exactly.
we're human. We have to experience emotions. So you're going to experience sadness, but you're going to experience great joy as well in your life. And it does get better as time progresses. That's for sure. So I think
that's another important thing I help clients to understand, how your thoughts and your emotions work, and how habits. So many people don't even realize that their brain pathways were downloaded mostly by family and other people, and it doesn't have to be that way. No. Your emotions have to come out, but you can manage your thoughts. That's not right. Meaning they're always positive, but to make them constructive.
Yeah.
And it just changes the whole way of life.
Yeah. Well, as a takeaway, Cathy, what would you advise someone who's just lost someone now, who's going through grief?
Don't be afraid of the pain. Let the pain come. Let the pain come. Say whatever you want to say. When my stepson died, my husband and I hugged each other and cried and said, life is not fair. This is not fair. We knew that's how it is. But whatever comes up for you, whatever your heart wants to say, get all that out. We have the ability, thank goodness, to shut down emotions. So when there's a time when we don't want to be letting all that out, we can control that. Don't shut down. And if anything's confusing you, seek help.
Yes.
Seek help in a book, in a group, from an expert. There's just so many resources out there that I never realized. And I created my website, CathyCheshire.com, so that I could put all of what I felt were the most valuable resources, because that's what I wanted. Yeah. I was finding websites that were saying every year is going to be worse. And it's just not true. Yeah, it may be if you choose to look at it that way, but it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
So hope, like you said, kindness to yourself, roll with it. And if things are happening you don't understand, there is so much information available in this advanced technology age.
So much.
At your fingertips.
Yeah. But, I mean, people don't even know that. I mean, I didn't know. It was something, I didn't really go to the computer to check stuff out. I read books and things like that, but I felt so alone. And you do feel so alone, and you feel like you're the only one on the planet who's actually going through what you're going through. And once you realise that so many other people are going through, as you said before, Cathy, so many people lose their children, and you know, there's such a common bond between us all. And if there's some way of connecting with these people and just sharing what you're going through, it does help with the healing as well when you are with groups, and which is what I'm trying to do at the moment. I'm setting up a grief tea time with my show, and we're to get people within the community to meet up and just share, or not share, just be with each other. And because there is that commonality between everyone when they've lost a child or lost a loved one in their life.
So often doesn't get talked about. But there's places to go when if that affects you, grief of a significant kind. There's tea time and websites and books, and
there's so much.
It's just a matter of finding what best works for a person.
Yeah. So how can someone get in contact with you, Cathy?
CathyCheshire.com.
Okay. Right.
On the contact page.
Yep.
And it's all there. And I'm updating it regularly as I come across anyone who's doing the kind of work we're doing to help people realize grief is a part of life.
It is.
It's not something that we're being punished with. It's a part of life, and it's going to affect most, if not all, people, you know, one way or the other. And it's not supposed to diminish our life. It's a thing we have to go through. But that pain, when it's a significant loss, just scared the heck out of me. Yeah. I just thought, how am I going to live after this?
Yes, because it becomes, it takes over your whole body, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It is scary.
But that's like hope. Know that that's how it's supposed to be. And it's a process to go through. But the point of life and living is to get back to it.
That's right.
And if you handle your emotions and your thoughts and your life in a healthy way, you absolutely will. You can have whatever life you want to have.
Yeah, that's really great. I really appreciate you sharing your story today, Cathy. And
thank you, Vicki, so much. And thank you for what you're doing to help so many people.
Well, I hope I can. That's all. Hope we can do that. And yes, everyone knows where to contact you, and I'll post it all up on the website and everything as well. So thanks for today, Cathy. And
thank you, Vicki.
To everyone out there, be kind to yourself. And if you're in any sort of grief at the moment, just reach out for help if you need it. And we're here online, Cathy and myself. So yes, until then, take care. Goodbye now.